Well, it was 4 years ago today that the president signed the Affordable Care Act into law. The House has since voted more than 50 times to repeal it. Hasn't worked. This week, the Supreme Court will hear arguments in 2 cases challenging the government's right to compel private employers to provide contraceptive coverage under the law. Let me bring in Sandra Fluke, a social justice attorney and women's rights activist who's also running for the California State Senate. Now, Sandra, you'll remember, came to public attention when Republican lawmakers refused to let her testify before a House committee on health insurance and birth control. She later testified at a Democratic hearing. So, hello to you. What's at stake in this case, in your opinion?
So much is at stake. This is not only about comprehensive, affordable access to reproductive health care for millions of women on their insurance, but because of the way this case is framed, this could really mean that any employer could choose to not cover any type of health insurance coverage because of their personal beliefs. And it could have even broader implications for other types of laws that protect employees and customers from discrimination by a business.
And this is, I mean, we have a particular case here, and it's specific to contraceptive coverage. But should we be concerned, and I guess it's okay to be that way, but should we stay narrowly focused, or should we not stay narrowly focused? You're trying to explain, I guess, the grander scope, but do you have real concerns that this will go further? Have you even seen signs that it would go further than what we're talking about here?
Absolutely. So what's at stake here is, can a for-profit company be considered to have religious beliefs? The proponents of these cases are arguing that in the Citizens United line of thinking, that corporations have the kinds of religious concerns that people do. So that's one concern for a lot of us who don't believe that a corporation should have the same rights as people. Beyond that, yes, we have seen cases over many decades where businesses and owners of businesses have tried to justify discrimination based on their religious beliefs. For example, that was often cited as a reason why a business did not want to serve people of color along with white customers. Currently, we continue to see arguments about services being made available to LGBTQ customers and about employment discrimination against that community. And we've even seen cases where an employer has tried to say that their religious beliefs justify not paying women as much as men for the same work. Now, so this could have a very broad scope.
Broad scope, implications you just described there. Let's stick with Hobby Lobby for a second, which this case is about. Do you think possibly there's something unique here about Hobby Lobby, given that Mr. Green, the head of that company, he has seemed to, he seems to be very devout in his religious beliefs, and he also has, as he argues, has kind of framed his business around this idea they're not open on Sundays, they close early so families can be together. So do you find Hobby Lobby to be at all unique in that, maybe by some of his argument that, you know, I'm not just a business, I'm a guy who built a business based on my religious beliefs?
Well, I completely respect his religious beliefs, and as a Christian, I probably share some of them with him. But the problem is that when you try to take your own personal beliefs and impose them upon your employees, when you try to go into the secular for-profit sector and say that your business should be entitled to be respected for its religious beliefs, that's when we're crossing the line. The policy at issue here, the contraception policy under the Affordable Care Act, exempts houses of worship. They're not required to provide contraception to their employees through their insurance plans. Religiously affiliated nonprofits are not required to either. They're able to be uninvolved and not contribute money, but their employees still get access. This is about for-profit corporations that are really far removed from being a religious organization, and that's the point at which we need to say that we respect individuals' personal beliefs in their personal lives, but we all have to abide by the same laws when we enter the marketplace.
All right. Sandra Fluke, good to see you. I think we'll probably see you a little bit more as this debate continues and we're getting ready to hear from the Supreme Court. Thanks so much.